He said no. He walked away. He chose someone else. And you're sitting there wondering what's wrong with you. Let me tell you something that will cut through the noise in your head. His rejection is not your report card. If this feels like I'm reading your diary, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments what rejection taught you about yourself that you never expected to learn. I read every single comment, and your truth might be exactly what someone scrolling through needs to hear right now. Listen to me carefully. You've been carrying this story that his rejection means you're not enough, that if you were prettier, smarter, more interesting, more available, more distant, more something, he would have chosen you. You've turned his inability to see your worth into evidence of your worthlessness. But that's not how worth works. Carl Rogers, one of the most revolutionary psychologists of our time, discovered something that will change how you see rejection forever. Your worth is unconditional. It doesn't increase when someone loves you, and it doesn't decrease when someone rejects you. Rogers called this unconditional positive regard, the idea that your value as a human being exists independently of anyone's opinion of you. But here's what really happened when he rejected you. He told you a story about himself. He showed you his capacity for connection, his emotional availability, his readiness for what you offered. He revealed his fears, his patterns, his wounds. His rejection was never a statement about you. It was a confession about him. Think about this. When someone can't appreciate good music, do we blame the music? When someone has no taste for art, do we say the painting is worthless? When someone can't recognize gold, do we question the gold? No. We understand that their inability to recognize value says nothing about the value itself. You've been abandoned before. Maybe by a parent who was too broken to love you properly. Maybe by friends who left when you needed them most. And this rejection just pressed that old wound, made you feel that familiar ache of not being chosen. But abandonment in your past doesn't make you abandonment material. It makes you someone who survived abandonment and kept their heart open anyway. Rogers understood that we develop our self-concept based on how others treat us, especially in childhood. If you experienced rejection early on, you internalized the message that love is conditional, that you have to earn it, deserve it, prove yourself worthy of it. But Rogers proved this is a false belief. Love, real love, isn't something you earn. It's something you receive simply because you exist. But here's the truth that will set you free. Just because you learn to seek approval doesn't mean approval determines your worth. Just because you were taught that love is conditional doesn't mean your value is conditional. Your childhood experiences shaped your beliefs about yourself, but they didn't determine your actual worth. He rejected you, and you immediately started the investigation. What did I do wrong? What could I have said differently? How can I fix this? But you're asking the wrong questions. The right question is, why am I trying to convince someone to want me? Why am I negotiating for love that should be freely given? When someone rejects you, they're showing you their capacity, not yours. They're showing you their emotional bandwidth, their readiness, their ability to recognize what's good for them. Some people can't recognize quality when it's standing right in front of them. Some people are so used to chaos that peace feels boring. Some people are so comfortable with dysfunction that healthy feels threatening. This is about emotional avoidance. Some people reject genuine connection because genuine connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels dangerous to someone who's been hurt. So they choose what feels safe: distance, surface-level interactions, or people who won't challenge them to grow. Their rejection of you might actually be their rejection of the opportunity to heal. You know what's interesting about narcissistic patterns? People who operate from narcissistic wounds often reject what's actually good for them because they can only value what they have to chase, what they have to earn, what they have to prove themselves worthy of. If you offer love freely, they devalue it. If you're emotionally available, they run toward emotional unavailability. This isn't about you being too much or not enough. This is about them not being able to receive what they claim they want. And if you've been dealing with emotional abuse patterns, you know this dynamic well. The person who abuses your trust, your time, your energy, then discards you when you finally expect basic respect. Their rejection isn't feedback about your worth. It's their last attempt to maintain control. Because as long as you're questioning yourself, you're not questioning them. Here's what I want you to understand. His rejection was information. It was data. It told you that he's not your person. It saved you from wasting more time with someone who couldn't meet you where you are. It protected you from a future of trying to earn love from someone who wasn't capable of giving it unconditionally. But you're sitting here treating his rejection like a judgment instead of a gift, like a verdict instead of a redirect, like an ending instead of a beginning. You're mourning the loss of someone who was never really available to lose in the first place. Rogers taught us something profound. When we stop seeking external validation and start accepting ourselves unconditionally, we become free. Free from the exhausting cycle of trying to prove our worth. Free from the painful pattern of making our value dependent on someone else's recognition. Free from the devastating belief that rejection means we're not enough. Because that's all rejection really is. Incompatibility. A mismatch. Two puzzle pieces that don't fit together, and that's nobody's fault. You wouldn't blame a square for not fitting into a circle. You wouldn't shame a key for not opening every door. So why are you blaming yourself for not being what he wanted? You are not here to be wanted by everyone. You are here to be deeply loved by the right person. And the right person won't reject you. They'll recognize you. They won't make you feel like you're too much or not enough. They'll make you feel like you're exactly right. They'll offer you what Rogers called unconditional positive regard. Love that doesn't depend on you being perfect, different, or better. The person who's meant for you won't leave you guessing about their interest. They won't make you feel like you're auditioning for their love. They won't make you smaller so they can feel bigger. They won't reject your authenticity because it threatens their facade. They won't make their love conditional on you meeting standards you never agreed to. So stop trying to figure out what you did wrong. Stop trying to become acceptable to someone who couldn't accept you as you are. Stop giving someone who rejected you the power to determine your worth. His inability to love you properly was never evidence of your inability to be loved properly. You are not a rough draft waiting to be edited into someone's final choice. You are not a prototype waiting to be perfected. You are not a maybe waiting to become a yes. You are a full, complete, worthy human being who deserves to be chosen by someone who sees your value without you having to point it out. Rogers understood that the goal isn't to become lovable. You already are lovable. The goal is to find someone who recognizes your inherent worth and chooses to love you not despite who you are, but because of who you are. Someone who doesn't need you to be different to love you properly. His rejection wasn't your loss. It was your liberation. He set you free to find someone who won't see loving you as a risk they're not willing to take. Someone who won't see your depth as too much to handle. Someone who won't see your standards as too high to reach. Someone who won't make you feel like you have to earn what should be freely given. So thank him. Thank him for showing you who he is before you invested any more of yourself. Thank him for saving you from a future of feeling unseen, unheard, unappreciated. Thank him for making space in your life for someone who will never make you question your worth. Your story isn't over because he couldn't write himself into it. Your worth isn't diminished because he couldn't add to it. Your future isn't ruined because he couldn't be part of it. You are exactly who you're supposed to be, exactly when you're supposed to be it. And someone somewhere is looking for exactly who you are. Not who you could become, not who you used to be, but who you are right now in this moment with all your beautiful complexity. Someone who will love you the way Rogers believed we all deserve to be loved, unconditionally. His rejection was never about you. It was always about him. Now stop making his story about you yours and start writing the story where you're the main character, not the supporting cast in someone else's inability to love properly. You deserve to be someone's obvious choice, not their maybe, and that person is coming.